Today I am joined on the podcast by a DJ who is nothing short of prolific in his ability, curation and taste. He's taken his craft to many a dance floor both here and worldwide. The Beijing-born, now Naarm-based Selector is the founder of the label A Colourful Storm, which catalogues a diverse range of music. From melancholic shades of left-field techno, IDM and electronica, to audio restored reissues of DIY recordings of breezy indie pop and folk records that tap into both feelings of introspection and nostalgia. It is no surprise as to why he is known for his deep creative music and wide range of genre influences, and this is seen in play with some of the most admired selectors such as Ben UFO and Helena Hauff. I'm very lucky to be sitting down on the 50th episode of Club Elevate here at Solace Bar with the one and only Moopie.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
It's very nice to have you here. We've been kind of workshopping this chat for best part of, 2 years or something, I think.
Has it been 2 years already?
Well, I think the first time we discussed doing it, it was ages ago. It felt like 2 years. And then,
wow.
And then I saw you down in Geelong. You were playing down at Captain.
Yeah.
And you were like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, I'm from here. And then you're like, are we still doing the podcast? I was like, true. Let's do it. So,
good.
Finally happened.
Yep.
How have things been with you?
Been good. I mean, summer's always a bit busier with, especially with gigs. I mean, especially, like warmer months, everyone's in a good mood and lots of festivals on and just got to ride that wave.
Yeah, totally. Summer of cricket. It's a good summer.
It was, I mean, growing up and watching the Australian team, you kind of, at least I have like some kind of nostalgia for, a high level of cricket being played. And this summer was no different. But I guess as a neutral, maybe it wasn't so interesting for the most part, would you say?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it was an interesting one. It's nothing better than beating England. So I was pretty pumped. But I was meant to go to day 3 of the MCG Boxing Day test, and there wasn't a day 3. So I was actually meant to go with Penny, funnily enough.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's a cricket head as well?
She's a cricket head as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, someone Mabel's partner, Luke.
Yeah.
We were sitting around at a
always have a good chat.
We were sitting around at a festival one day, and he said, we're talking cricket, and Mabel specifically said no cricket talk. But he's like, I just need to tell Harry one thing. He's like, there's someone in the scene that that is a big cricket head, and I was trying to guess, and it was you. So when I heard that, I was pretty pumped. Just quickly, who's your current favourite Australian cricketer?
It's got to be Pat Cummins.
Yeah.
I mean,
You were hanging out with him. How did that happen? It was at the Oz Open.
Oh, he was, I think it was like a New Balance event that Hope Street Radio were involved in. And I popped in and he was, signing cricket bats and just being an all-round good guy. And Cut Copy, turns out he's a fan of Cut Copy as well. So cool. Dan from Cut Copy, who played played a few of their songs, and Pat seemed to be pretty happy with that as well. So it was,
That's epic. Yeah. I remember seeing your story of just Pat Cummins with DJ headphones, and I was like, two worlds colliding. Yeah, it was great.
You'll have to get him on the podcast one day.
That would be cool. Yeah. I admire him a lot, what he's been able to do. So anyway, those people that hate cricket would be like, guys, shut up. So, I usually like to start the chat with, I sometimes go with how we met.
How did we meet? I can't recall at all.
That's fair enough. It was ages ago. It was at Alley Tunes when you were working there.
Yeah, around 2021, I imagine. After or in between lockdowns.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was my first time in there, and that's when I met you. And then we were just talking about music and stuff, and you're asking what I was digging for at the time. And that was when we first initially met. But then I think I just bumped into you around the traps, handing over the headphones sort of thing in the booth or whatever.
Around that time, was that when you were starting to dig for records and DJing a bit as well? Or?
Yeah. So I was DJing, but that was when I really started to dig for records, properly, and I guess in a way probably found my sound a little bit more. I was kind of exposed to a range of stuff like growing up, but I kind of shifted. I think it was like a element of COVID playing like the more faster shades of like techno and stuff, and I didn't really feel that fulfilled after playing sets of that. So, and then I think I just bought turntables in COVID and then started digging for records. And obviously, I think a lot of the music that's on vinyl, particularly the stuff that I was drawn to, is kind of, you know, early 2000s, late 90s, you know, tech house and progressive house sort of stuff.
Yeah. I like a lot of that stuff as well, but yeah, we can play a few tracks later on.
Yeah, totally.
Talk about why they're amazing and unique. But yeah, but it's cool. I mean, I guess a lot of people kind of come into DJing with like a digital format first. I was the same, like with CDJ 1000s.
Oh, nice.
Back then, so burning CDs. Like, you know, like 20 or so songs onto one CD and then writing it, the track listing on the surface.
Yeah,
which was,
it's a good way to learn to DJ
warp.
because you actually listen with your ears rather than like
playing records.
Playing records, but also on some of the older CDJs, where they don't have the waveforms because
for sure.
Yeah, because like I find that particularly when on the newer stuff, it obviously says, you know, shows you the beat grid and all of that stuff, and people fall into the trap of just watching that.
Yeah, it's almost knowing too much, and it was much better for your memory back then, and kind of listening much more attentively and really knowing your songs, I guess, which is the main difference. Yeah,
exactly.
But don't get me wrong, like the beat grids and stuff are kind of amazing as well. Like we're always complaining about Rekordbox. Even just before this, we had a good laugh about it. But ultimately it saved me a lot of time, and I kind of came onto it like really late, like only like a year ago. So,
really? Wow. What were you fiddling around with then? Were you just purely records or what?
No, I mean, I kind of was just making folders on my USB and dragging songs.
So they weren't analysed?
Yeah, exactly. So they weren't analysed.
Okay,
And that, to me, like coming from burning CDs was already a time saver.
Yeah.
But then I took it to the next level, and the reason why I did that is because I couldn't use the search function on the newer CDJs, having dragged the songs manually onto the folder.
Yeah, okay. Like that was a real where pain. You type in the track.
Yeah, exactly. And that for me is like kind of one of the best features of the CDJ. So that was like, a real game changer.
It is a game changer, and I've only recently started using it, which is like, I think one of my friends who I was playing with did it once, and I was like, hold on a second, what did you just do?
Yeah.
And and I've started using it a lot more since, because I subgenre and like do all this random bullshit really, and I lose music, like, and I don't know at the time, like when I'm playing, I'm like, shit, I want to play that song, but where is it, you know? And then you're kind of like running out of time, flicking through your folders.
You were saying before you're a bit of a like a mass downloader, or what was the term that you
binge
used?
Downloader.
A binge downloader.
Yeah,
so
binge downloader.
Maybe that doesn't help your case either.
Yeah, that doesn't help. No, that doesn't help. And I used to get tracks in my record box and then organize them straight away. And then sometimes I'll put a bunch in there, forget to do it, and then it like the emails kind of piles up.
Yeah.
And then I forget to analyze them and put them where they should be. But anyway.
Yeah, definitely. There's always missing files in every USB compared to the record box interface, I'm sure.
Totally. I want to talk about you because you're someone that's I've been so excited to chat to, because obviously, you know, you've done so much as both a DJ and a member of the community, and, you know, very well respected. But I don't actually really know your story in terms of, you know, what actually got you into it, and where did it all start for you in terms of like your initial exposure to music. Take us back to a young Moopie.
In terms of just music exposure, this was very much just like moving to Melbourne, like when I was 4 years old, and just driving around the city, like with my mum, with pop music playing like on the radio. That was my first kind of like conscious exposure to music. But in terms of like electronic music, which I guess we can focus on tonight, it's more like realizing that there was a lot of electronic remixes of bands that I liked, kind of happening in like the late 2000s or the early 2010s, when, I don't know, just as an example, bands like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs were being remixed by people kind of specifically for a club setting. So that was like a really good gateway for me, because coming from like a more, I guess, band or indie interest and background, I could contextualize it in a way that made sense in a dance floor, which was very new to me at the time as well, because I had only started going out clubbing at that time, and just hearing any loud music on a good sound system was already amazing. And when there's kind of moments where you realize, oh, this is a kind of a remix of a song that I already know, it was a kind of a good entry point for me.
Totally. What sort of clubs were you heading to at that point?
A few of, I mean, the most iconic one would be the Mercat Basement, which is where I met, a lot of friends and peers. We all seemed to spend like many nights over a weekend and many weekends in a month there. Like it seemed like there was, 2 or 3 things on there every month that was that were worth going to. But other clubs around that time, like for example, New Guernica was the first place that had me DJ like in a public space on like a, on like a Wednesday or Thursday or something. That was on like in the middle of the city. And
because it was Thursdays was like the uni night that
where
a lot
exactly.
of people went
So
out to Guerns.
Yeah, which always surprised me, because it felt like a lot of these uni students had class the next day. Like on a Friday. But
absolutely. That's the key is, we used to do this same thing, but the key is just you choose subjects which didn't have classes the next
Okay.
There's a science to it.
Good to
or
know.
you choose them and just don't go. That's usually how it works. Or they choose them and somehow there's those anomalies, those people that are still able to do both. But I don't know how they do that.
Amazing people.
Hats off.
Yeah, absolutely. So but I also remember New Guernica doing like even things on a Tuesday, and I mean they were always very receptive of young DJs, like giving them their first chance at playing in a live setting. So very appreciative of that. But Mercat Basement was definitely where I spent a lot of my like recreational time, so to speak, just listening to as much electronic music as possible in there.
I'm so sad because I just missed the Mercat for maybe a few years before it closed down.
Oh, it really is like a kind of generation away, which is scary for me because it makes me feel old and all that. But I feel like at that time it was that. I mean, they hosted like such a diverse range of parties, but the 2 I went to the most were Animals Dancing and C Grade, which was ran by like the same core of people, but bringing in different acts every month. And it was a good club because it was, for me, it was in the perfect location as well, like in the same way that somewhere like Miscellanea today is situated, because it's just outside the kind of, I don't know, like you call it like the walk-in zone of the city. So
because it was near the Queen Vic Market, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you were there, there was a very low chance that you just stumbled in there and didn't know like what was going on. So in terms of like a kind of crowd dynamic, it was always a good balance of like music heads for sure.
Yeah, exactly. People are going there with the intention of going there rather than the walk-ins. Yeah,
walk-ins are also great. I mean, it's it's always like finding that balance, and I guess like a 70-30 maybe is optimal.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, you I mean, as a promoter running a party, you're banking on walk-ins a lot of the time. So
for sure. I mean, promoting's. Do you run parties as well? Or?
Running one this weekend actually.
Amazing.
Here
At Solace?
Yeah, at Solace. Yeah, hosting Spray actually, which would be fun. Yeah, quick plug. This will come out afterwards, but whoa, what a great party.
You understand like the stress involved. And
totally.
It's like just tickets not moving, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, like the weather's, there's going to be rain that night. How's that going to affect numbers?
It's terrible. Yeah, you check the weather app like a week out, and I did the same thing. I was like, it's going to be 27 on Saturday, like that's safe. But my first party that I threw at the Gasso, RIP, like I think I'd sold 10 tickets the Monday of that week, and I was like, like, you know, scratching my head. You know, had like, you know, Ed Kent, Sophie McAllister, like, you know, strong lineup. And then, you know, literally the night before, it's like 100 tickets sell, and then on the day,
Fantastic,
you know,
yeah.
it sold plenty because the weather was nice, which helped.
Always
and we had
helps.
walk-ins. Shout out. Yeah, but it is stressful. It is really stressful, and sometimes you might throw an event, and thankfully you know, I haven't run a heap of parties, but you might throw an event and there's a huge other, you know, mini sort of festival like Freeform or something on that
Yeah,
night or
exactly.
something, and then, you know, then it's empty. That same thing happened when that's when you and Hannah played.
Yep.
Right? It was all night long, and it was like the calm before the storm.
Yeah, it did feel like that.
Yeah,
for
it was
sure.
like kind of, and then all of a sudden, I remember Paddy came up to you,
Yeah,
like
was he
running up.
stressing?
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
oh, can you like, you need
He
to
was
stop the
stressing.
tickets,
Yeah.
and you were like, oh shit, like I remember watching it from the crowd. It was hilarious.
But also, like, fantastic that there are such a variety of venues now in Melbourne that can, just host like people doing their first party, or like people just getting into music for the first time. Really, there's, even when you think of kind of iconic venues like Section 8 or something, it's like these kind of places are doing events like every night of the week. Like, there's so much opportunity for a whole range of people to try something out, which I think is kind of amazing. Like, the ratio between like serviceable venues and the population here must be like one of the highest in the world. Like, it's the complete opposite to like an Asian country, or like even many places in the States, I imagine, like where the you know, population's much larger, but the amount of venues is much lower, I imagine.
Yeah, well, I think in the States they've had heaps of venues closed down.
Right.
And so I think, Nat Dawes is actually talking about it to me, funnily enough, on the podcast. They run everything by like email, sort of warehouse party, invite only sort of spec, rather than, a lot of the clubs are closing down, unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of challenges involved. for
Yeah,
sure.
which is sad. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing that I could probably talk about. Am I right in saying that you are or were an architect? Is that correct?
Not professionally.
Not
I mean,
professionally.
I barely passed my undergrad.
Okay.
But I did.
Okay.
And, worked in an office for, I don't know, maybe 2 years max. But during that time, I was already starting to play gigs a lot more, and it was a very logical step for me to just choose music, because it was so much more fun.
Yeah.
And much more fairly paid.
Yeah. So in terms of like, were you just doing that to have something in case it wasn't music, or?
No, it was very like Asian parenting thing. It's like you just finish school, finish uni, and like make sure you do that. which I'm very grateful for. But for me it was like I had no real ambitions at all finishing high school. Like, I remember them, like the teachers asking like, fill out your preferences and stuff, and I really didn't care about it at all. I was much more of the I guess school of thought where you get your what's it called, the enter score, probably showing my age there as well, and that's when you make the decision on what you do. So I got my score, and I thought, the architecture's cool because I'm, kind of into art and design already, and I wouldn't say it's like the worst decision I made, but it was a very difficult degree. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, it's by all reports, it's not an easy degree. It's not just like I just did my undergrad. It's like
it was a real slog. They kind of the culture's a bit twisted. Like, they're really I wouldn't say encourage, but they kind of basically, when people do all-nighters, it's almost expected.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Like,
so
which is
it's
very
that,
unhealthy.
Yeah, there are a few industries like that, and
Yeah.
I have friends that work in certain industries, and I'm like, I don't know if that's... Yeah. I mean...
But good training for, staying up late and DJing.
Yeah, exactly.
And being in clubs all night. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But no, I in all honesty though, I think I got like a really important thing out of architecture school, is that like you really design for a target audience, and if you kind of translate that into DJing, like you kind of have to really think about like environments and contexts and what's going to work in specific places, and who might better receive certain styles of music than other people. So all of this stuff, I do say like there's a big design element in a DJ set as well.
Yeah, exactly. Quite a bit of crossover there when you put it like that. I'm interested to know, like, going on what you're saying there, people, shaping things differently for different people, and hoping that they receive it a certain way, or interpreting, a crowd, for example. And obviously, you're playing music as a DJ. How much are you thinking? Like, I want to get in the mind of like when you're stepping into the booth in, say, a festival, or you're about to play a festival. For example, Boutique. When I was lucky enough to actually watch you play. Thank you for the ticket, by the way. That was very kind of you. I was side story actually. Me, Ella, and some friends were driving there. Got there, and we're like, just need to make sure we get to Moopie's set, like da 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 da. Anyway, I get to the box office and I'm like, oh, I'm on the guest list or whatever, and they're like, oh no, you're not on it. And I'm like, oh. They're like, oh, can you call him? And I'm like, I looked at the time and I'm like, he's on the boat with Kia playing the boat party at that point. So I'm like, I can't like do anything or whatever. And like, hats off to Boutique, because usually I've kind of seen that sort of situation unfold at festivals, and they're just kind of like, oh, you're not on the list, like your problem. But they were like, oh, who's the artist? And I was like, oh, Moopie, like da da da. And they got the stage manager who was looking after you to ask you if that was cool. And then they were like, yeah, all good, and just gave me the wristband. And you were probably just like in the booth, be like, yeah, it's all good. It's like, can you tell this guy to piss off? Like, anyway, so we were frantically trying to make your set, because I think you're playing at like 4 p.m. or something in the afternoon. But that was a side story. But how are you interpreting that festival, for example? Like, are you, in terms of what you're going to play, how are you thinking about it all?
You have an idea of like what to expect, but that's also like not the best way to go about things, especially when you're playing in new contexts all the time. So it's also you can only prepare your best, and I guess in terms of like the preparation, it's also not worth like I don't know, like spending like too long on it either, because ultimately like you're booked for a reason, and people promoters and audiences have, at least a little bit of faith in what you're going to bring. And I think also as a DJ, you have the capacity to make your selection, or at least the tracks that you've brought, and mix them in a way that's going to suit the context or the time slot or whatever it is, as best as you can. So whether that be like, I don't know, like playing the tracks faster, or mixing the tracks more quickly. I don't mean BPM, I mean like, not letting a track run out. And so stuff like this is all, like it's all part of like the creativity involved in like what you can do as a DJ. So if you have too many preconceptions of like what you're going to play, it's also not it might not be anything that you thought it would be, as in like, the crowd and everything is just completely different. There might not be anyone there. So it's like, so in that case, like how does that make you feel about like the hours and hours you've spent on the preparation? So I don't know, that's just my take on it. Like I'm pretty pragmatic when it comes to these things. It's like, if I'm playing 1 hour, back when I used to play records, if I was booked for an hour and a half, I would make sure to only bring like 20 to 25 records per hour, because I hated the idea of overpacking and over preparing. And coming to the night and looking at your record bag and just being overwhelmed with the choice. Which is funny to kind of fast forward now into the digital realm, because, I'm sure on your USB as well, there's probably hundreds or thousands of tracks on it, which are there at all times. But, I think you can still filter them or playlist them in a way which is going to be beneficial for like the set that you're playing. So for me, it's like, if I'm going to play if I'm going to play like this weekend, then I dig tracks which I think are going to work for this weekend only. So that saves me going too deep in like the limitless well of music out there, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so in that sense, I'm still like, if I'm going to make a new playlist, I'm going to only put like 20 to 25 songs per hour on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you dig for every gig every weekend? Like,
For sure. Yeah. I would say like my digging method is just, my digital digging method is just spending like, I don't know, maybe like half an hour to an hour per day at different times, just listening to random stuff, like listening to mixes, trying to find out tracks, going through like people's Bandcamp collections, going through like track listing databases, but I won't spend too long on it. I'll find something that that's interesting enough. I'll just bookmark it, and then I will dedicate one day of the week, like an hour of that day, and just like listen to everything that I've bookmarked and see whether or not I need to buy this or not. So, for the stuff that suits that weekend, then it's going to be in the cart, and that'll be what I play for that weekend.
and the stuff that's not?
It'll just be left in the bookmark because I'm sure there's a time
okay.
that you think it's going to work.
Yeah. I like that method rather than the
It's
binge.
just
I think I need to take a leaf out of your book.
There's infinity tracks out there, and infinity like amazing tracks.
I know. Yeah.
So it's, I don't know.
That's the thing. Yeah. It is really just a wormhole. Yeah. I kind of do a similar-ish thing in terms of if I find a tune by an artist and if I don't know them especially, I will look at that artist's whole sort of discography or try to at least. And it's amazing where you end up. And then they're like, it's like, they've done a remix for this person. You're like, oh, I'll check out this person. Then it's just, you're literally just like jumping. But like, what happens for me is in that process, I'm like, cart sort of thing. Yeah. So it's just, it can be a little bit of a trap. Hence the binge buying.
Yeah. It's good to filter out.
I obviously go back and review the stuff that's in my cart. Yeah. And in a way, like, I guess that's sort of bookmarking. I'll go back and listen to them all and be like, okay, like, was this just like a impulse purchase? And like sometimes you can be in a certain mood or vibe when you're listening to that music and get a bit like trigger happy in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
And then re-listen to it and you're like, I don't really know. And that's the same with records. Like sometimes I've thankfully, like I think I've gone through most of my collection now and I'm pretty happy with majority of it. But I had to do a cleanse, like especially when I first started collecting records, like my taste was vastly different to what it is now, and I just like took them back to alley tunes and was like, take these.
But yeah, I think when you're looking for music, it's you have to like transport yourself to the gig that you're digging for. I think that helped me a lot.
Yeah, do you operate like that, like a bit of almost visualization sort of thing, or like how listening to a tune and you're digging it, you're like, how would I like to hear this, or where would I like to hear this sort of thing?
Exactly. Like you have to really imagine like how best to present this song or where it's going to work. And that might not be like the most obvious answer either. Like it might be some very obscure place or some moment at the end of the night, which you might never even get to play. But that's still like how you have to, or at least how I have to, imagine myself like buying these tunes and playing these tunes.
Obviously your range and I guess taste is so diverse. Have you ever felt, I guess, pressure to define your sound more narrowly?
Not so much. I mean, maybe there are pressures that I'm unaware of, but ultimately you have to just do what feels best for yourself and not force anything. Like I think playing in such a in so many different contexts and to so many different crowds, it's amazing because you get an idea of like what people are into and what you're into and how it might work for these audiences. Like of course with like younger audiences, the perception is, or the general perception is that they like faster BPMs and higher intensity, which is probably true for the most part, but I kind of also like the challenge of, playing something that's not what they expect, something that's a much slower BPM and still having the same amount of engagement. I can't remember what you asked. I'm sorry.
It was, have you ever felt... Great honesty.
Yeah.
No, it was, have you felt pressure,
the pressure,
to
so-
define your sound more
Yeah,
narrowly?
I went like way
beyond.
beyond that.
They're literally just little, I guess. Sometimes I go on the craziest tangents. Example, that
I know,
boutique
yeah.
question, like it just happens.
So yeah, like personally, I really don't feel any pressure to like follow a certain trend or follow a crowd, or what did you say, to like narrow
Yeah,
down
define your sound more narrowly.
No, just I mean, if that works for you, or like that's great. But ultimately, there's so much amazing music out there, and I'm not so interested in, I guess the question kind of leans into like these pressures are like almost like market or industry pressures, because ultimately it's probably easier for a lot of promoters out there to have, DJs that have a certain sound, like it makes their job easier and stuff. But it's that should be the last thing on your mind
Totally.
when it comes to music.
Yeah, I like that, and nor should you. I mean, as you said, there's so much amazing music out there. I guess kind of leaning into your concept before about being overwhelmed if you overpack your record bag, I find that, but that's also the part of playing records is what I enjoy, is that you are limited to X amount, and you don't overthink things, and you just play things on their merit. Like,
no, exactly. And I loved moments back when I was playing records where you kind of reach a moment of the night where you realize, none of these records are going to work. So it's kind of up to you to make it work. It's like, if I need to like inject more energy into this crowd, but I've only got my palette of records, like how am I going to do this? So that really it forces you into like knowing the mixer, knowing your turntables a lot better as well, knowing your records better. Like I'm sure there have been a few moments where you've played records at wrong speeds and it's just sounded like much better, and it's completely like recontextualized like how the record's meant to sound. And that's really what I love about them, because it makes you, I guess, listen more attentively and just take a step back and do with what you have, like rather than this kind of constant chase of like having something new all the time. Yeah, I definitely like the pace of things, like when playing records, for sure.
Definitely. You don't play records much anymore, or?
No, not so much. I mean, it's with traveling comes. Oh yeah, we've talked about this as well.
Yeah.
When you're, it's pure convenience / laziness. Like the more I travel, the less inclined I am to take a whole record bag with me. That's just me though.
Yeah, that's fair. It is a lot of effort, and also like the upkeep of them whilst you're kind of on the road, I would imagine would be pretty hard.
My view on electronic, like dance music, is like I also don't feel like I need to have like specific records. It's like if I hear a record that like a DJ I like plays, or it could be anything that I hear out. I found the record and it turns out to be like really expensive on the secondhand market. I don't feel like I need to have that record either, because I feel like there is an abundance of tracks that will fulfill the same role. And of course, like if you're buying records based on like your emotional kind of attachment to them, that's a whole different story. But if we're talking purely on like functional terms, like that's probably part of the reason why I stopped playing them as well, because I kind of came to a realization where I realized that I didn't need that particular song or that particular track. Like I could just find an alternative of that track digitally, which made things more convenient for me. But yeah.
Yes, that's so interesting. I admire that you were able to get to that headspace, and I don't know if that will come for me maybe with time, but I'm one of those people that, like, personally, if I hear a record or dig a record, and obviously like I'm not ridiculous in terms of like if it's ridiculously expensive, I'm not just going to buy it, but particularly if it's...
Honestly though, that's, sorry to interrupt, but that's also fine. Like I feel like I hear a lot of dialogue of people kind of shitting on others for buying like records which are overpriced or something. But I mean, if you like something enough, like who's to say that you're not allowed to just have some part of that and make it part of your life? Like it's also fine. Sorry, continue.
No, and that's the kind of thing I really weigh it up and go, all right, well, am I buying this due to an emotional attachment, or am I going to buy this and like what's going to be my like, I guess like how much use am I going to get out of this? Am I definitely going to play this? And like I think the most I've spent on a record is maybe like, I don't know, $100 or something, maybe more, 120 or something. I think I got a mint condition copy of Expander by Sasha just because it was like kind of the first progressive house sort of progressive trance sort of tune that I was exposed to like when I was younger, and it was just an iconic tune, and I was like, I just kind of want to have that. I've never played it. I've actually never played it out, but it's more so an emotional attachment to it, I guess.
Yeah, and I think also valuing or placing value on records as into like how much you use them is kind of also a bit wrong and twisted as well. Like I don't see there shouldn't be any like set rules on how records should be used or how they play a part of your life. Like if they just mark a certain moment or memory of like your connection with that track, then that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's the other thing. Like, and I bought one like recently. It's called.
And I mean, $100 is like it's like half a bag, and you get like way more enjoyment out of the box set than
totally
in Melbourne anyway.
Yeah. So
it's not that much.
Yeah. I know. And like, what if you buy a round of cocktails or something, like that's $100 gone, but yeah, it's like, it's one of those things. Like I bought one the other day because I heard it on a dance floor at Miscellanea. Actually, Ivan Smag played it, Something Different by Funky Transport, and you can't really buy it digitally or even listen to it digitally anywhere.
So how did you find out the name of the track or the artist?
Shazam.
Oh, amazing.
Which is, anyway, and then I just couldn't find it. I couldn't, like, usually you can see it on YouTube. There's only remixes of it, and the original mix is not available to be streamed anywhere or listened to. And I've heard Ivan play it a few times, and I was like, this is sick, and, I could see myself playing it.
Yeah.
And it was like $100, and I was like, I'm just pulling the trigger, and like it arrived, and me and my housemate who I was there with at the time, we were just like, frothing out over it sort of thing. And
spilt a drink on it immediately.
Yeah. No, not yet. It's no drinks near the turntables is a strict rule.
Good.
You talk about no rules with like records, that's the rule with records.
Good.
I want to ask you, just before we dive further into records, because I know you brought some along.
Sure.
I want to go back to where we were talking about like setting and thinking about setting, and like what you're going to play. How do you think about that in terms of playing with someone? You've played with, I alluded to it then, like played with someone like Ben UFO or Helena Hauff, for example, someone who's both incredible artists and got such range. How are you thinking about playing with people like them? Are you communicating with them in the lead up or just kind of going with it?
Honestly, there's been probably no communication with either of them in the lead up to them. Like, I think there's just like a kind of, a trust that's been built like before that. And
nice.
It's, there's got to be some awareness from both sides on like, each other's like sound, generally speaking. And also back to the context, which is very important. I think when you're booked for a specific slot, at a specific place, then you already have in mind what you're going to play. So, and that is, I said before, it doesn't have to be so precise. Like it could simply just be like an energy level that you both kind of have in mind for that particular slot. And with someone like Helena, like for me, it's like, it's an amazing challenge because I have to dig for stuff which is slightly like more pumping or energetic than I usually play, and maybe she uses it as an opportunity to play like slightly more housey or something like that. So in terms of the communication beforehand, it's, if you know someone already, there's no real you probably have higher chance of like, I don't know, breaking the friendship by doing that in some cases.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
it's yeah.
Because am I right in saying that you played with Helena at Tresor?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
played at the upstairs floor in Globus.
Yeah.
But the first time was at Miscellanea, actually.
Yeah. I think I remember
Yeah.
that. What were you playing then?
At Miscellanea?
Yeah.
That's a good question. The set is online, but
Yeah.
from memory, it's quite groovy techno, for lack of a better term, to start. And there were definitely some more like electro and electroclash elements like thrown in. Also some kind of like more bass heavy stuff from the UK like thrown in as well. Like a whole variety of genres for sure. But again, it was more about like the energy level and just kind of going higher and higher as the crowd was getting more and more into it. Like, and you can do that with most genres. You know?
Yeah,
like that's kind of
exactly.
your job as the DJ, and that's what's amazing about DJing, like the creativity and how you play your records, like not just the records themselves.
Were you playing records with Helena that day, or were you playing digital? She was playing records?
No, it was a mix of both.
Mix of both. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember watching her one day. She was playing Pitch main stage, I reckon, and incredible DJ. Incredible DJ.
Definitely.
Very. And one, I unfortunately missed that gig, but I might have to go back and listen to the set. I reckon I may have skimmed it ages ago. Sorry, I haven't given it a proper listen.
I think that says it all.
Yeah.
Skip through it.
I think I just remember.
Save for later.
Yeah, I reckon it's in my likes. I might have to go back and listen to it. Yeah, I just haven't listened to it.
It's an honour to be there.
Hey, I'm just purely honest. Yeah, I'm not going to fluff around and be like, oh yeah, it's great. Yeah, like. Anyway.
Good. That's why this is episode 50.
Yeah, exactly. Raise the bat. No, but keep the helmet on.
Too good.
Talk us through what you've brought along, and why.
It's kind of a mix of stuff, but I did try and bring just a few things that I bought lately. Like most of these records, I would say, are from the 90s, and I guess something interesting about them is maybe we'll start with so this is by Damon Wild. Let me know where to point.
That's perfect.
Point this stuff.
Looks good.
This is the Damon Wild side. So there's 2 tracks, Avion and Shortwave. Something I love about dance music produced in the 90s is just how, I guess, naive and unprofessional it sounds at times.
Yeah.
It's almost like, dance music wasn't so professional and formulaic yet, and
like serious
algorithms
almost,
and technology and, I don't know, just industry in general hadn't discovered like the perfect formula to a drop yet or something,
Yeah.
Like this is such a good example, because if I'm not mistaken, both of these tracks kind of just like the end of the tracks just like fade in and out really awkwardly, as if like they're jamming and they've just left record on for like
cool.
the last
Nice.
few seconds of it or something.
Yeah.
So I kind of like records with a human element in there. Like it just feels like it's, I don't know, more accessible to me or something, like if I compare it to a lot of like newer productions. But having said that, I mean, one of the I'm biased when I say this, but this is someone who I work with a lot. His name's Klon. This is his latest record, or maybe like one of his newest records. I think he's kind of like very creative with his like sample choice, and he has such a good ear for like production and engineering that really seems to I don't know, like cut through the mix really well. Like they're just really well produced, and he's it seems like he has kind of like one foot pretty safely in this like minimal or techie world, but also people that are into like really, I guess, like hi-fi or sound designy music that can really relate to his stuff as well. In his mixes he'll put like classic minimal tracks and layer them with like Auteca or something, and I think that really speaks of like his, I don't know, his intentions, like with what he's doing in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to some of his stuff on A Colourful Storm. I think his first release, I actually can't remember the name of it initially. Yeah, and it is like really kind of tech house, I guess, focused, sort of that proggy tech housey sort of sound. I think he's got like an interlude track in there or something, and it's like something for Moopie.
Yeah, so I specifically asked him to do that because I didn't want to release. So the record is called Klon Dump versus the Open Air.
That's right, yeah.
And I specifically requested an interlude or just something cheeky in there because I didn't want it to sound like just, I don't know, a kind of stock standard dance record.
Yeah.
That was just, kind of like, in my mind, like an interesting way to separate something that I'll come back to in many years versus just something that I might like pass on, like after, I think it's been almost 10 years now. So
wow.
Yeah, I think, it's like little things like that in records, which I really appreciate, which I can relate back to that Damon Wild one that I was talking about. Like just these little, funny moments which are recorded.
Yeah. I do love the imperfections that come with the stuff produced in the 90s. As you said, people just kind of jamming out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I often find that with like phrasing. Like sometimes you'll be listening to a record or sometimes even playing it and you've forgotten about it and like the hat comes in like really early or something and you're like, what the hell? But it's kind of, I don't know, the people that DJ and are able to, I guess, just kind of embrace those sort of the moments make the set kind of interesting for
agreed.
me. Yeah, rather than just being like, all right, I'm going to bring in the lows on the 32 or the 16 or whatever.
Sure.
I kind of, over the years, I guess, have been, after listening to more and more people play, I've been kind of like drawn to people that do that. Like Ivan Schmag does it really well. He kind of creates these moments of like tension and release through a blend that's two tunes that are able to speak to each other and kind of create, this sort of energy in a way that's not just like a classic, big track drop or whatever,
I think all these DJs that we've mentioned, they're just, I guess they exemplify like very experienced listening practices in general. It's like you can tell that they've been listening to music for such a long time and have a wide variety of influences that they can, kind of like slip out in their sets at certain times in a much, I guess, like not necessarily interesting, but at least it's there, compared to younger DJs who are still like, I guess, in like the learning stages of styles and genres and stuff.
We touched on it there. A Colourful Storm. It's been 10 years? 2016, wasn't it? Yeah. Like the diversity in what's come out on there, and I've seen you speak online about, I think you said there was a quote saying it's like, part of this is for the freaks or something like that. I think, there's I remember reading that and I had to laugh. But starting off, it's like got people like Nerve creating this sort of like left fieldy techno sort of variant that's like quite melancholic, and then you've got Klon Dump making this kind of dance club focused tech house EP, and then you've got the repurposed old sort of DIY recording folk stuff. How do you decide what fits on the label?
Honestly, it could just be as simple as just how you feel like immediately after listening to it. And I guess for me, all my favorite labels are very diverse in genre, and they're more almost like aesthetically inclined, like they're kind of bound by like a certain vibe or an atmosphere rather than a genre or style. And that's something that I've always appreciated. So for me, it just felt very natural to release anything that I kind of had some kind of attachment to. And for me, that was enough. Like I didn't have to, I think overthinking these things is not great either. Like it should be very intuitive. The more you think about, I guess, boxes and things, kind of relates back to what you're saying about like feeling pressures of like narrowing down your sound and stuff. And that's when you have to ask yourself like why, like should I do that or why would I do that? So it's you know, that's just, all my favorite labels have been like that. So I kind of feel like I want to be like part of that lineage in some way.
Some of the old stuff that you've repurposed, like there's stuff out there that's, correct me if I'm wrong, there's stuff that like hasn't even been released. Is that right? Or it's been released and you've re-released it?
That's, I guess in like...
I think I remember reading that in one of the descriptions.
I mean, it's... I guess with like vinyl culture and the abundance of reissues these days, like part of that process is you'll be in touch with an artist, and during that dialogue, they might say like, "Oh, I've actually got this unreleased stuff from however long ago.
Yep.
Maybe it could be interesting for you. Like, would you like to have a listen?" So stuff like that is part of the process as well. So, but every release is has such a different story on how it kind of comes to fruition. So,
do you do all the writing of the descriptions?
I do. I guess my I like to have control over how it's presented, like with the text and elements of the design. Although as I said, every release is different, and if the artist has an idea of how it should look, then that's like part of the process, and you should definitely consider that. Like other times, artists might have no idea of what it should look like, so that's when you can add some input. What are some other things like?
I love some of like the language and descriptions that you use, and like off the top of my head, I think I remember one about one of Nerve's releases. It's like no fucks given something. I think there's another one.
I think it's important to show like a
it adds
slight
character,
and just a kind of slight sense of humor about it as well, because I don't know. I guess some people could perceive the music as being like too self-serious as well. But I think if humor shows in certain ways or very subtle ways, it can be interesting as well.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. Like even reading, some of your descriptions on the compilations, like the latest one, Going Back to Sleep. Like, even just talking about those records and how it kind of allows you to make sense of them in a way, the way that you've kind of described them, and like, DIY recording, and you can kind of hear that it kind of sounds a bit like grainy or, in a way. It's like being recorded in like a garage or whatever. And I kind of love that because it adds setting to listening. And the other thing that I found when I was listening to a lot of those, particularly the first compilation you did with Bayu, like there's a feeling of, and this is going to sound weird, but like there's a feeling of nostalgia listening to the tunes, but like I hadn't heard any of the tunes before.
Yeah, for sure.
It just kind of, I don't know.
That first compilation with the tracks being like over 30 or 40 years old, some of them definitely adds to that. I mean, it's like a time
I wasn't even
warp.
old. I wasn't even born then, which is, it's just weird. Yeah.
Hey, neither was I. Like, come on.
Sorry.
No. But I think it's a time warp, and it's, the production qualities of indie music and rock music back then were very different to now as well. So I'm sure for fresh ears, it's like, it's almost refreshing because you're so used to, I guess, like, algorithmic music, like, squashing songs to like having no dynamics and stuff like that. So, but having said that, like, I also make sure to not be too nostalgic with anything either. Like, I've kind of gone on about how 90s records have like I have a certain attachment to them, but there's, I think, like equal weight should be given to like new producers and stuff that's coming out now as well, because it's very easy to fall into like this kind of like retromania of what's already been, and always, like, I think sometimes the focus on that is a little too strong.
That's a fair call, actually. Yeah, because you're right, there is a lot of really good music being produced today.
Like in terms of new dance music, like maybe it's not in this kind of like house techno realm that we like met each other in and know each other from, but I can, like, a label in Portugal called Principe for me is kind of making like very contemporary music stuff that I'm guessing if you heard Jungle for the first time, you would just lose your mind to or something, because it just feels like this music couldn't have been produced in any other time but now. Like, it's very urgent. The technology used is very contemporary. I should say the way that the technology used is very contemporary. The rhythms are surprising, exploratory, and...
What sort of genre is...
A whole
like
range
bunch?
of genres, but, I think someone like Ben UFO is able to mix these genres really well with other strains of electronic music, like, I don't know, UK techno or broken beat and stuff, and make it compatible. But yeah, back to like kind of house techno scenes, I also don't think that they need to be cutting edge in a way either, because it's supposed to be music that you listen to for like hours and hours on end. Like, it is repetitive. Like, that's why it's amazing, like the feelings that it evokes after listening to it for hours is something you can't replicate with other styles of music. So in a way, maybe that's like, this is it, like, we don't need to be looking for like cutting edge things in 4/4 format. Yeah. 4 to the floor format.
Yeah. Now that makes sense. It's an interesting concept, really, because I feel when listening to, it's kind of, or for me, it always comes back to setting. Like, when I listen to something, whether that's just a listening tune or a 4 to the floor tune, I always try and listen to things on their merit and like how that song makes me feel at that time, or how it feels, or how I could imagine it feel. That's what I base it off all the time anyway. Exactly. And I think that's what, like, the good labels out there that I like admire, such as yours, are able to really, if you go through the discography, like, they always seem to make you feel something, which I really appreciate, whether that's, the melancholic, like, darker stuff, or, the stuff that we were talking about before, those repurposed records. Like, I think that for me, that's what I really, really admire about a label or an artist or whatever, being able to portray feeling in their productions.
Yeah, for sure. I think as long as you feel something from it, that's the most important thing. Like, you can't just be like just the stock standard thing that you forget about. So however means like you create that feeling is up to you.
I was talking to a good friend of mine, Ed Kent, the other day. I was lucky enough to playing at a bar together for 6 hours, and getting to share the booth with him is always fun. You've got to do it as well. And I told him we were chatting, and his like eyes just like lit up. He was very pumped. And I was like, oh, what's a question you would ask Moopie? And so his question was, considering what he's been able to do and achieve, playing festivals and clubs all around the world, and, running a successful label and all of that stuff, what's the main thing currently that drives you to continue to do it all?
As cheesy as it sounds, like, you just still have to have the same love for it as when you started. Like, it just comes down to that. Like, I can see this quote already being in like some stupid font on a reel. Like, it's just, but honestly, like, that's just, that's the way it is. And you have to really simplify things sometimes, because there are a lot of, like, sometimes it feels like there are a lot of influences and a lot of forces that might be, like the opposite of like why you started, and you might lose track of them at certain times, but you just have to remember like why you got into this stuff in the first place. And if that still drives you, then I think, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was an interesting, and it was so funny. He came up with that question instantly. Yeah, just like straight off the bat. I was like, yeah.
Well, I hope he's not losing the love for...
No, God, no.
No way.
No way. And that was the thing, like being able to sit with him for 6 hours and just talk records and music and everything, like it flew by.
So wait, you were booked to DJ?
We were playing together. Yeah, we were playing together.
And you just ended up chatting instead of...
Yeah, we were playing at a bar, so it was chill. Yeah, it was chill. We've played together in a club before. We played for like 3 hours or something, which was super fun. And yeah, he's a really fun guy to play with. How did you find playing with him?
No,
You played here, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. It was recently. I really love playing back-to-backs in general. Like it just, you can discover like so many new tracks and kind of reinterpreting your tracks because like you've played them in a different way, or hearing them after tracks which you don't usually hear is it's kind of like mind-blowing sometimes because it's almost like rediscovering your own music. So,
yeah, and I think it kind of pushes you to do. I mean, playing with someone like Ed, who's quite diverse, what he plays, like when I played with him, it really pushed me in certain spots in my USB that I wouldn't usually kind of go to, and rediscovering music, and it was really cool. And obviously, you know, sharing music with each other, and that's like the best part.
Yeah, best thing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing with him. I want to ask you a couple of more sort of left field questions.
Yeah, of course. Do we need to? I feel like we've talked about 2 of the records. Is that probably enough? And then you can just play.
Yeah, I mean, what else have you got?
I feel like I've touched on the themes that I wanted to talk about anyway, so it's probably enough.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
If you feel like that, then I'm easy.
I mean, we can talk about one more because it's just so. I think it exemplifies like what we're talking about. Just, I don't know, like idiots jamming. Maybe we don't put that in. Just like, you know, kids jamming in their studio and pressing record and seeing what comes of it. And I mean, I love, you know, records like this. Like, it's on a legendary label called IFAC, which is Baby Ford related, and the artist is called Purbeck, which might be some combination of like Mark Broom and Baby Ford, and maybe like Eon as well might have been part of this record. But
nice.
It's kind of amazing. But I love this one in particular because it's they've tried to really conjure like like some really nice melodies throughout. Like you can tell they were really I don't know, maybe inspired by like what was happening in Detroit with the like melodic techno stuff, and doing their interpretation of that. And again, it really comes down to this like production quality, which I just find very refreshing when you're kind of bombarded with all these like new, like very well produced music all the time these days. So yeah, this is Purbeck, and I love the song Rain Tower, which we can play later. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, he's iconic. Like you see the videos of him with his drum machine and stuff, and I think I've got a fair few of his tunes on my USB actually, but him and Ben Sims and that sort of like era of productions is something I'm quite drawn to as well. But
you'll like this,
because
it's probably like 5 years before, like I think what you have in mind as well.
Yeah,
this
cool.
is like kind of feels like very primitive even compared to that more like loopy stuff.
Sick.
Yeah.
Couple of random questions.
Yeah.
Are you still shopping at Aldi?
When did we see each other at Aldi? Like how long ago was that?
Well, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, I'd say.
That long ago?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
So from memory, you said you weren't in the best state when you saw me. Is that right?
Yeah. Well,
sorry to flip the interview on you.
No. Just a little bit hazy, I'll probably say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just like, it was at the point I'd only met you once, I think. and I was with Callum, my friend, and I was like, we're in the fruit section. I was like, that's Moopie. And then literally, like, as I said that, you looked up and walked over and said hello. My reason for bringing this up is I feel like, so you do still shop at Aldi?
Not so much, because I don't really, I'm too lazy these days. Like Aldi, you have to like, this is such a boring topic of conversation, but you have to really make time to go to Aldi. It's not one of these places you can just duck in and out.
Yeah, that's true. No, well,
unless you live close by, then it might be local.
My reason for asking you this was like, I thought that you might have some sort of like niche dig from Aldi, because Aldi has niche stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a whole bunch of like random things.
I thought you being you and like having like, exquisite taste.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, that's why I'm going to Aldi.
Yeah, wait, don't hate on Aldi. You got to get. I'll give you one. The Portuguese tarts in the freezer section.
Yeah?
You put those in the oven, unbelievable. Better than the sauce, I would say. Like better
Okay.
than the ones in Portugal. Just a heads up.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I just thought you might have a I thought you might have a random like grocery item that I need to try. That chocolate's also good from there too.
What's the chocolate called?
I actually don't know the name of it. I just
Okay,
know
but it's their brand.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Yep.
What does the Space Coyote from The Simpsons mean to you?
The Space Coyote, just it's like all tattoos should mean absolutely nothing to you immediately after you get them. So this is something that I got when I think it was my friend's ex-girlfriend, or can't remember who, but yeah, they were like practicing being a tattoo artist, and I was like, yeah, sure, like you can draw something from The Simpsons on me. So, but I like, yeah, it's, as much as I regret it, you have to live with it, and it's I mean, that's probably the last time I even watched The Simpsons. Like,
Really?
Is that
Yeah,
is that show still going?
Probably. The person that gave me this intel was Penny, because she has a matching one. She has she has the same tattoo. Yeah.
Not cool, Penny.
I know, and it's purely by chance.
Interesting.
Did you not know that?
No, I had no idea.
Wow, there you go.
I mean, two legends, so
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Sorry to drop that bomb on you.
No, makes sense.
No, because I just was talking to her. I was like, oh, by the way, I'm interviewing Moopie. Anything random I should ask him about? And then she said, we have a matching tattoo of the Space Coyote, purely by chance.
I feel kind of bad now because she's probably or definitely like shown me that previously, maybe, and I've forgotten about it. So apologies if so.
That's okay. She won't be
Yeah.
offended, I'm sure. She's probably sitting there. I can actually hear her laugh in my head right now.
Yeah.
An iconic laugh.
Yeah. No,
Love you,
she's
Penny.
amazing.
Shout out. Anyway, I usually round out with some stupid shit like that. So, just got some quick fire questions
Yeah.
for you. It's called Ricky's Quickies. Just quick. Don't think too much. Early set.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
before you start?
Yeah.
Ricky Nord.
Yeah.
How? How did it come about?
So it came about because Nord is a province in northern France where me and my crew of friends at the time in 2016 went to our first techno-oriented festival. It was like, it's called Le Name in Lille, actually. Do you know the festival?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went there, and that was just kind of my first sort of exposure to that, top tier sort of techno-oriented music, I guess. And then from there, kind of came back and was like, whoa, this stuff's crazy. And then I was not until probably a year or two later, I would say, when I played my first gig in 2017, I had to think of a DJ name, and we were just mucking around, and Nord just kind of came to me through. I was kind of looking at my trip or to see if there was anything like meaningful from there, and there wasn't anything too much. And then, came to that. And then Ricky was just a funny first name that my friend Larry came up with, and then that was it.
No, it's cool. I mean, yeah. It seems like you wear your influences on your sleeve, and I appreciate that for sure. It's like something I do as well. So it's it's something I'm not afraid to like show or talk about, which I think is a nice thing.
Where did Moopie come from?
Moopie is a reference to this software that I used in primary school. That was like an animation software, and their option to make a movie was called a Moopie. So even nowadays, when you type the word Moopie in, you'll see people referring to movies as Moopies in like a kind of certain community of the internet. So I just thought it was a cute word.
Yeah,
and
I like it.
It's more of a nickname than anything these days. So which is great. Like it's not like a stage name by any means.
Definitely. Well, that was the thing. Like when I first met you in Alley Tunes, you introduced yourself. You're like, "Oh, just call me Moopie," and I was like, "Oh, Moopie." I was like, "Oh, I've seen that guy on lineups." Yeah. So that was that. Do you have any more questions for me?
I reckon we're good. You can, yeah.
All right. So early set or closing set?
Both. That's very greedy, but yeah.
Club setting or outdoor stage?
Both.
Favorite dance floor you've played to recently?
I mean, two that immediately come to mind is I feel like every time I play at Miscellanea, there's always a very receptive crowd. It seems like, people there are kind of, just a bit more patient with things and happy to, embrace like, all types of music and mistakes. And it's, very free flowing. But also Solace, like that. Like every time I played there recently, it's always been like a really nice reception on the dance floor as well.
Nice. Do you have a guilty pleasure when it comes to music genre?
I love pop music, but I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure because it's nothing that I'm embarrassed about at all. So I don't know, that's kind of a long-winded way to say I don't have a guilty pleasure.
No such thing as a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Is there a genre that might surprise people that you don't like?
Not necessarily don't like, but I'm not really well versed in like metal or country, and I'm sure there are many others. Like even classical music, I enjoy it, but I couldn't pick out any periods or composers or anything like that. So, yeah.
I was going to ask you favorite Simpsons character, but
it's been a long time since.
Yeah. But I was like, because
I mean, I'm sure there are some classics. Like, I mean, Apu's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like so funny. Every appearance he makes is just like
there's some iconic characters in there.
Such a crack up. Yeah.
Well, when I rewatched the segment from where the Space Coyote comes from, when Homer eats all the...
Yeah, so Johnny Cash plays that character.
Really?
I believe, yeah.
Wow.
It's the voiceover.
Cool. Yeah, when I watched that, I rewatched it today on YouTube, and it's very
You did
funny.
your preparation?
Yeah, it's a very funny episode. Like I found myself, I watched like 6 or 7 minutes of it, and like it's ridiculous. Like it's hilarious. All time favorite cricketer.
All time. There's so many. Honestly, like that era of when I was growing up and watching cricket, like every Christmas, it felt like everyone in the team was so likable. Like they had so much character and personality, like every single one of them, which was something that I could relate to. And I guess I don't feel as much nowadays, but if I spoke to someone younger, like maybe I can ask you, like, do you feel the same way? Do you feel like every player in the current team has like their own character and their own personality, and they can be relatable or unrelatable?
I would say it's kind of like changed recently in the good way. Like I feel it has. Like I feel like I can now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I really think Tim Payne was big for me in terms of what he was able to do, and it kind of, and then obviously Pat Cummins has like taken it over again, and people like Trav Head and like those sort of characters have kind of come out a bit more. But going back to what you said, like that classic era, you feel like you know them all personally.
Yeah, I really wonder why that was. Maybe because there was so many, like Australia was just dominating for so long, and there were so many like they became like media personalities in a way.
Yeah,
like they were just
quickly,
on a lot of ads. They're on a lot of like TV segments, and
True.
Maybe that might have had something to do with it. But yeah, back then, honestly, like every player it felt like when you were watching like an Australian batting lineup, it didn't even matter if one wicket fell. Like the next batsman was just like gonna be like such entertaining viewing.
Get home from school and we're like 2 for 350 and just cruising. If Haydos or Langer was out before we got to 100, it's like I'm freaking out. That doesn't happen.
So it's so funny to think about.
Yeah. Anyway, if you were to be any animal, what would you be?
I have no idea. We'll come back to that one. Pass. Yeah.
This is I should have given you a heads up with this one. If it's your last ever gig, what do you close with?
Oh, that's pretty tough. This goes back to what we were saying before about like preparing tracks for moments that might never come. I'm sure there's like a whole memory bank of tracks that I might pull out at one time. I love this song by Closer Music. It's called Maria, but maybe an obvious choice because many DJs have played this as their closing song. It was kind of, I think it came out in 2002 on Compact. It's just a love song without like any words. Like the melody's amazing, the production level's amazing. I think it's very representative of the kind of feelings that I'd ultimately like to express like towards the end of a night and make the audience make it worth it for them as well. It's like that's in those moments is where you can really show like a side of you that that other people haven't got to experience yet. So
what's next for Moopie in the near future? I know you're playing at Pitch on the Monday, I think.
Yeah, that'll be
with
fun.
Hannah.
So going back to back with Hannah D, who I played with a few times now. Always been good fun. And is the lineup out yet on Monday? Like, can I talk about like what?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if not, you can just scrap this. But yeah, it should be fun because I think it's Yob and then maybe Eristru and Octa Octa. So it's very stacked.
Yeah.
And we got to really bring our A game for sure.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. It's a great day of music.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for it. I mean, I came to your all night long with Hannah here. Super. It was sick.
I appreciate it.
Loved where you kind of started and where you ended up. The Deadmau 5 mix of I'm Not Alone didn't go unnoticed.
Is it Deadmau 5 or Deadmau5?
Deadmau5.
Which one?
I don't know. I've heard people say both.
Okay.
But I think it is Deadmau5.
Yeah, that song's a banger. Like
I saw someone say it in an
deny.
interview not too long ago. Who was it? And they said Deadmau 5, and I was like, have I been saying it wrong the whole time?
Okay.
But no, it is Deadmau5.
Okay.
Thanks for the correction.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't trying to be authoritative in any way.
No, but it's an honest question. It's like who's the like DJ Co's? I've heard people say
probably
DJ.
pronounced differently.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of I see people, these DJs who have names that are tricky to pronounce. They say, anyways, fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, and I'm like, great, awesome,
Wonderful.
Moopie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So nice to pick your brain. It's kind of, time's just flown by. It's been well over an hour. It's
thanks for having me. Like, appreciate your time as well, and congrats on 50 episodes.
Thank you.
No small feat.
Yeah, it's awesome to actually have you on as the 50th. It feels fitting. You're someone I've admired for a while and a long time actually. So, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Should we shake some hands or?
We can.